Lakers win in Luka's emotional, historic Dallas homecoming. It helps secure the 3 seed. And this is wild to me, UD. This marks the first time LeBron will have home court advantage since coming to Los Angeles. Isn't that crazy? Wow. There are 3 potential first-round opponents for the Lakers, right? The Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and the Warriors. Here's how each scenario is possible. Minnesota will be the 6th seed with a win and wins by the Clippers and the Nuggets. Remember, the Nuggets play Houston. Houston is playing their guys in this one. Denver would be the 6th seed with a loss and wins by the Clippers and Timberwolves. And for the Warriors, their easiest path to be the 6th seed is just win today against the Clippers. Now, the Lakers, they have the second best odds to win the Western Conference. But standings aside, do you think they're the second best team in the West, Stephen A?
I think at this particular moment in time, you can say that. I know that Houston is the number 2 seed. I believe in Ime Udoka. Them young thoroughbreds can ball. I still think they're a piece away, or I should say a year away as opposed to a piece, because even though Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet are on that squad, I still think you need somebody else from a leadership veteran standpoint to help them. But I think they've got the pieces, and they certainly have the coach. It's just that with the Los Angeles Lakers, you see LeBron and Luka together. And the elevated play of Austin Reaves can no longer be ignored. And, oh, by the way, I want to say something that I don't consider it bold at all. J.J. Redick is going to win himself a championship one day as a coach. I think he's proven to be that exceptional and that locked in and that zeroed in. Might not be this year, but with Luka and LeBron, I can't summarily dismiss them against anybody outside of OKC. I think the way that they've looked right now with their experience, that playoff experience, you got to see one of these younger teams like a Houston. I got to see them take them out to believe it.
I see these two have been looking at each other the entire time you've been talking. Why? What are you keying about over here?
JJ has done an amazing job, but we do not give Houston their flowers, and you slightly did. But, yes, they might be young, but I'm looking at a team who has 5 guys starting in their starting lineup that average double figures. When we look at what Luka was able to go against last year against Boston, he wasn't able to hide. This is a team where if they played him in a 7-game series, he's not going to be able to hide. By the way, they're 14th in offense, but they're 2nd in defense, so they can guard. And on the other end, they're 1st in rebounding. The Lakers are 26 in rebounding. In a 7-game series, when you're in the mud, nobody's running any plays you haven't seen before. It comes down to physicality. It comes down to grit. It comes down to muscle. I'm looking at that team, and I'm saying, okay, yeah, everybody says the Lakers. I say Houston.
I disagree with you both. I get y'all points. Here's the reason with the Rockets. I feel like in a 7-game series with all the superstar power you have in the Western Conference, you need that closer, right? When the game gets tight in the fourth quarter, you need that guy that's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with a Jokic or Luka and LeBron or SGA. I just feel like they don't have that right now consistently. But I'm with you. I love what I'm seeing out of the Rockets. SA, here's the problem that I have with the Lakers, right? They don't match up well with Golden State at all, right? They don't match up well with the Clippers, in my opinion, at all. Any team that has the versatility to switch on the perimeter defensively causes problems for the Lakers. And that's what the Golden State exposed about a week ago when they played the Lakers, because Luka was trying to search people out. He trying to search, who you going to search out? I'm going to bring Draymond up? Nope, because Draymond can switch. He's a smart enough defender. Can I bring up Podziemski? Nope, Podziemski. Enough body, enough IQ to defend. So, again, when I look at the perimeter defense that the Clippers have, Kawhi, Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, who we don't talk about enough, who's one of Ty Lue's favorite players, it's OKC and everybody else.
So who shouldn't the Lakers want to see in the first round? Let's assume today that Minnesota gets the win over Utah, and I think the Nuggets are going to get there.
I would say the team they shouldn't want to see is the Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
Yes.
Because of Steph Curry, because of the experience that Steph Curry, Jimmy Buckets, along with Draymond Green bring to the table, the exceptional coaching of Steve Kerr, one of the top 6 coaches of all time. There is no debating that. When you look at everything that they have in play, their perimeter shooting, their ability to hit free throws, etc. I think all of these things, and their defensive prowess, because they can, even though they're undersized, they can get at you like a bunch of piranhas. When you look at Golden State in that regard, that could be a bigger problem in my mind, more so than Houston. to answer the question about the Lakers.
Nah, I'm still going with Houston. Once again, I'm going.
But they wouldn't match up with Houston until the second round, so the first round. Yeah. So when you're looking at the most likely first round opponent, who don't they want to see?
They don't want to see Golden State.
Okay.
I agree with that. I agree. Nobody wants to see Steph in the first round in a 7-game series. And you made the trade for Jimmy Butler at the halfway mark. You got rid of a guy like Andrew Wiggins, a guy who we can say in 2022 was probably your best player in that final. So you make that move to get to the finals. You don't make that move to lose in the first round or to get in the play-in. So yes, the pressure's on. I say they don't want to see Golden State with Golden State's back against the wall.
And then we got to point out, what are the Lakers great at, right, defensively? They're great at boxes and elbows, taking away the paint, taking away drives, and giving up wide-open threes. And we were on here with Bob Myers, and Bob Myers was like, that can't work throughout the course of the postseason. And it definitely can't work against Golden State because Golden State is going to make you pay if you leave them open. So it's no taking away, sagging, and giving up wide-open threes and saying, oh, we don't believe you can shoot because they can shoot. Here's the thing about the Rockets, too, again. The Rockets are 25th in the league for us made threes. Yeah. You got to be able to make shots, UD. You got to be
Houston and Memphis, that's their Achilles.
Houston and Memphis, all right. Well, one thing we do know for sure that the Lakers, for once, they're not in the team in NBA history to triple their win total from the season prior. And leading the Motown motorcade is Cade Cunningham. He's the first Pistons player to average 25 points, 9 assists in a season. But their task is also Herculean. Can a young, up-and-coming team snap a 14-game losing streak in the playoffs? It's the longest in NBA postseason history. Well, our Shams Charania caught up with Cunningham yesterday to find out just how this team is firing on all pistons.
I'm not saying you guys are reincarnation, but you guys have some very tough players on this team, and you guys don't back down. Do you guys ever think about the legacy of what it means to be a Piston, that Bad Boys era? Are you guys trying to be a reincarnation of that era?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in Detroit for long enough, I think it just naturally, like, infectious, like it's contagious, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's walking around with it, everybody kind of carries it with them, so I think that's, you know, the first step of being an athlete in Detroit is you got to play hard, you got to have some type of grit. Grit is the word that everybody always uses.
Cade playing like a superstar tonight.
Hey, you're that guy. You're that guy, man.
This year, you're named an all-star, your first all-star. You're going to be competing for all-NBA team, competing for most improved player. Where do you feel like you stand with what you want to accomplish in this league?
I want to be the best player in the world. That's every day, you know what I'm saying? That's what my phone tells me every day is best player in the world, you know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I'm striving for, and having the best team in the world. You know, I don't think there's too many players that you could argue above me. Obviously, the playoffs is going to determine a lot, and so that's why I'm just excited and looking forward to these series and getting this thing rolling and waking people up as far as what is in Detroit and the type of respect that we deserve.
So now in the NBA, there's a lot of chatter about face of the league, right? Obviously, you want to be the best player in the world, but when you think about that, how do you view the young face of the NBA? Where do you feel like you stack up?
I'm right there. I'm not trying to, you know, push my case right now. I'm not trying to knock anybody else's case right now. I think at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and you get to watch all of us play and figure that out for yourself.
Cade Cunningham has shown New Yorkers what he's all about.
You're going to play the Knicks in the first round. You start off on the road at the Garden. What is that going to mean? You know the lineage, you know the history of not only these two teams, Knicks, Pistons, but also playing at the Garden. What is that first round series going to be in your mind?
It's going to be a war. It's going to be highly physical games, defense, you know, battling it out on the glass, all of those different things. I think it's going to be a super exciting series for people at home to watch. And it's going to be a great test for us as far as first round, first series, and, you know, a long time for the organization. And so it's exciting, and I think it's going to be a great one for us.
So as we prepare for the Pistons and Knicks first-round series, remember the Pistons won 3 of 4 meetings against New York this season. The Knicks' lone win, it came by 30 points. That was back on November 1st. Cade Cunningham, he averaged nearly 31 points and over 8 assists in those 4 games. Jalen Brunson had 28 points per game in those 4 matchups this season. Udonis, didn't you try to tell our friend Stephen A. over here a couple of weeks ago? I saw you on First Take. I think you tried to warn him that the Pistons are coming.
I tried to tell him. I tried to tell him about Detroit basketball. I tried to tell them boys they were coming. They're energetic. They're not scared. They're not afraid. They got a chip on their shoulder. They carry the D on their back like the Detroit Pistons. They really got that swag, and they ain't scared to mix it up a little bit. And I'm going to tell you, 3-1 against them in the regular season, Stephen A. Where your receipts at? Because you got your laptop right there.
I have no receipts. Zero. I'm not that confident with the New York Knicks right now this year. They're not what they were last year in terms of their grit. Hartenstein is gone. Obviously, DiVincenzo is gone. Even though Julius Randle wasn't healthy during the playoffs, he's gone right now. I think the New York Knicks have more offensive talent. I think they're devoid of that grit that they had last year. I'm still going to pick them to win this series, of course, but it's more emotional than anything else because when I look at the Detroit Pistons right now, they scare the living hell out of me. Cade Cunningham, that brother is special. That's a baller right there. And then when you see, first of all, Bernie Bickerstaff, I'm saying BJ Bickerstaff, sorry, he's one of my JB Bickerstaff. He's one of my leading candidates for Coach of the Year. I'm probably going to give it to him. I got other people email. I think the job he's doing in Houston has been spectacular. But Bickerstaff's got to be up there. But I just like the makeup of this Detroit Pistons team. And what I don't like most about this matchup for the Knicks is that Detroit seems to have what the Knicks had last year. And that's that grit, that grind. They'll make it ugly. They'll play whatever way you want to play to beat you, whatever it takes. And they pride themselves on trying to emulate the bad boys. Now, the Knicks were doing that last year. They ain't doing that this year. Well, I'm very concerned.
Not just the bad boys. They didn't embody the whole Detroit culture.
No, that's what I'm talking
what I'm saying is the bad boys, the Rasheed, Ben Wallace Pistons. And when I look at a guy like Cade Cunningham, first of all, I'm voting him first team All-NBA. Him and SGA are in my backcourt when it comes to first team All-NBA, along with Tatum, Giannis, and Jokic. That's my five. I'm putting it out there. He is, Troy Weaver told me this when he drafted him, he is going to be the one that is going to bring the MVP back to America. Why do I say that? Because over the last 5 or 6 years, who's been winning the MVP?
Giannis,
Jokic.
Yep.
This year is going to be SGA. Guess who's going to be the first American basketball player to win the next one? It's going to be Cade Cunningham. That guy is so special. Now, for me to get back to the Knicks, you know I'm the self-proclaimed governor. Shout out to my boy Tracy Moore.
We still allowing that?
But I got to call a spade to spade. I'm worried. And you know who else should be worried? Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau better get it done. We're watching coaches getting fired right now. Taylor Jenkins, Michael Malone. You're watching the team now with Mikal Bridges. Y'all done had y'all back and forth with minutes. The Knicks have been critical about him not trusting his bench. You have the pieces. You don't give up a mansion to get Mikal Bridges.
Right.
You don't go out and you get a Karl Anthony Towns to come back and have the same success.
That's Leon Rose, though.
But how much does, I really enjoyed watching the Pistons this year. I think they have the perfect sort of makeup of young talent, of veterans that they've brought in. They've had the shooting piece down. They have sort of the perfect blend and mix. But how much does experience matter in the playoffs when you're talking about a New York Knicks team that knows that they have something to prove? And I know that depth, Stephen A., you've talked about is a concern, but in the playoffs, we know that rotations shrink.
I mean, sometimes what you don't know is what you don't know. Those guys don't know it's the playoffs. It's just another game, and it's another team in front of us. And guess what? Nobody expects us to win this series. They thrive in that.
Is Jalen Brunson the best player in this series?
No. And this is not a knock on Jalen Brunson. Cade Cunningham is the best player in this series. There's 5 guys in the NBA that average at least 25, 5, and 5. Cade Cunningham is one of them. Giannis, Luka, Joker, and Tatum. And Cade Cunningham is one of those 5.
Cade Cunningham is special. There's no doubt about it. We have to see him in the postseason. We haven't seen that yet. Let's see what he does because we've already seen what Jalen Brunson could do come postseason time. The other thing that I think that we need to bring up, and it's important when you bring up Tom Thibodeau, there were much apologies to Frank Isola. We see him on around the horn all the time because nobody's a bigger defender of Tom Thibodeau than Frank Isola, okay? I will keep in mind, I brought up depth in terms of developing cats to come off the bench so you can rely on them this time of year. That's number 1. Number 2, Big Perk, and I'll hand it to you. Who's Tibbs going up against? The same dude he beat last year when he was coaching Cleveland in Bickerstaff. So Bickerstaff is familiar with some of Tibbs' tendencies, but one could easily argue that the makeup of this team that he has in Detroit is a better match for the New York Knicks this time around because the New York Knicks ain't the same squad.
Look, I love the Pistons. I think what they've done up to this point is a huge success. They're not beating the New York Knicks in the first round. I can't agree with you that Cade Cunningham is going to be the best player in this playoff series. You know this better than anybody. 3-time NBA champion. How many times you went to the NBA Finals? How many postseason? Look, combined, we probably have how many playoff games, moments? Man, that scout report get that thick, right? And when you look at the experience, Jalen Durant, has he been to the postseason? No. Isaiah Stewart, has he been to the postseason? No. So we could be watching, or we're going to be watching the same thing that we saw in Oklahoma City last year. Well, you got to go through the growing pains and do not ever disrespect big body Brunson again.
Y'all always wonder how the Miami Heat go from the A seed and get to the finals because you got dogs. I'm looking at a team full of dogs in Detroit. 8 Mile, 9 Mile, all that on them boys riding with all that.
I would say this.
I'm betting on the dogs.
I would say this to you. I'm gonna go with my Knicks, but I'm gonna say this to you. All bets are off if Cade Cunningham shows up in the postseason the way he is showing up in the regular season. If that brother shows up, but I understand they don't have the experience, but if you got a cat that you can get a ball to and you can say, take me there, them dogs surrounding him can't help get it done.
When you say show up, that means he goes from averaging 26 to averaging 30.
Well, you know who does that?
Jalen
Brunson.